you're going to be watching, listening to this on the replay on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, you could be watching this live on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and all the platforms that could be going on. Right. I just wanted to say that I wanted to welcome you guys because a lot of ads has been going out for this pre-show. But today's topic, guys, is how to stop taking it personally and how to master your response and basically reclaim your peace on what's going on in your life, because there's so many things that could be going on that you could be doing, but a lot of times the situation doesn't do anything justice, and it's basically a stoic core. And I just wanted to reintroduce yourself. My name is Gordon Watt, co-founder of Bounties and Brotherhood, with my co-host, backup person in crime in this session. Go ahead, Doc.
This is Dr. Keith Fairclough. We're working on that, guys. Don't worry. We'll get it.
I changed everything. We'll get it again. You're supposed to answer. that was the opening.
But Dr. Keith Fairclough, you're a mental health therapist, you're a relationship and emotional intelligence strategist. So, welcome. It's good to be here. And this is going to be a phenomenal topic. I hope you guys can stay through the whole thing because, Gordon, I don't even know if we really introduced it yet. So I'm going to let you do that. I don't want to steal your thunder.
No, I mean, you're the star of the show. I'm just a Robin. Like I always say, it's just a matter. We're doing this to help people have peace, have control, have their control and everything. Because let's face it, guys, the world's going on. Like I said, last week's show was not giving your time away. Today is basically stop taking things personally. You cannot control the disrespect, the chaos, the politics, the news, or the mistakes people throw your way, right? But the very second you take it personally, you hand them the steering wheel of your life and your emotions and your behaviors, even though you can control it, right?
Yeah.
Today we're breaking down the power of the pause, how to stop reacting to people's storms, hurricanes going on, mastering your own actions, and to protect your peace no matter what is happening around you. Welcome to the show, Doc. What are we be going over? Let us get it all core breakdown. Because, guys, this came from one of Doc's posts, right? That hits me very hard because until you learn how to control that, things are going to go out the window fast. And take it from me, with a lot of behavior issues, I still have to heed my own advice and drink my own Kool-Aid. Doc, let us know what we can do right now.
Yeah, man. If you're not drinking your own Kool-Aid, there's something wrong with whatever it is you're doing. Because, I mean, think of it like this, just from that, that example, and this isn't about taking it personal. This is about just staying in alignment with what you believe and who you are. But if I make a meal, to be quite honest, if I make a meal, like I cook for myself, then I'm going to want to eat my food. To the point where if I bring food somewhere and people don't eat it, I'm happy because I get to take it home and eat it. So we talk about drinking your own Kool-Aid. Yeah, like I'm not offended. That's just more for me. So I always try to tell people, the things that I talk about and the things that, the things I talk about, the things that I do, right? And we have to do that, right? So
yes.
In any case, that's not our topic for the day. Today, our topic is about learning how to not take things personal. Because when you do that, when you make things personal, and what you end up doing is you start creating stories based off of very limited information, make it about you in order to try to protect yourself. And it doesn't work. And the thing is, you've done it for so long, you're not even aware that you're doing it. You're not even, and what happens is, here's the saddest part about it is you actually end up giving your power away. You give away your autonomy. You give away your control. You may not think you do, but that's exactly what you do. When you allow someone to trigger you and get you upset and things of that along those lines, and you respond to it in that way, and you take it personal, you're giving all your power away. It's very similar to anyone who's ever played sports. When you're out there on the basketball court, on the football field, and they start talking trash to you, right? The whole idea is for you to take it personal. When they say, I effed your mom last night, or effed your sister or your girlfriend, or whatever the case may be, they want you to take it personal so you can give up that power, give up that control, and start getting you off your game. And so it's the same thing in any other aspect of life when you start taking things personal. You give up that power, you give up that authority, you give up that autonomy, and now you're a puppet on everyone else's string, and they can move you however they want to move you. So we're going to be talking about how to break away from that, cut those strings, get your power back, retain your peace regardless of where you are.
No, absolutely. I mean, you're so correct, because once you give somebody the power of other people controlling your emotions, and in turn gets a reaction out of you, you lost all control of everything else that you have going on, especially when other people's behaviors or their requests is a projection of themselves, not really about you. They're just trying to get that reaction, right?
Yeah.
You mean, because it's their internal things going on, their internal baggage they haven't had resolved, or and they're trying to dictate the energy upon you to get a reaction for what? Now, if you do something where you're in control of everything, and there's a debate of being stoic, being beta, all this other crap, but there's a time and place for everything else, right? Yeah. When someone lashes out basically unfairly at you, what is the mental shift required to see it as their resume, not your identity? Because that's a lot of work.
Yeah, I mean, that is a deep one. There's a lot of work that goes into this. Lot of work that goes into this. And I wish I could say you could just turn it on and turn it off, but the thing is, there's a number of different things. One, there's the logical aspect of it, of recognizing, like what Gordon just said, people's reaction and their response to you. That's because of what they do and what they've been through, not about you, right? Yep. That's what that is. So instead of taking it personal, being able to view it and make sure you have that logical idea that, okay, this is actually about them. Now, of course, I want to make sure I preface this. This is if you have operated in excellence. This is if you have done everything the right way. We've talked about sovereign man. So this is under the premise that you have done everything the right way, right? Then it's easier to be able to look at somebody else and say, okay, that's their thing. But if you're out here blowing up the spot and you're out here causing a ruckus, and then they respond to that, you can't then say, oh, well, that's just their stuff and they have to deal with it. So we're not talking about that. If you're doing
that's different,
then that's different, right? Mm-hmm. So the first part is you got to make sure, again, you have that idea, but also you have to make sure that you know how to regulate. You know how to regulate your own nervous system. Because what ends up happening is, if you don't know how to regulate your own nervous system, what ends up happening is that you become very reactive before you even know it. Like, it's just like, boom, you start becoming reactive, right? And so you have to be able to regulate your nervous system. That comes through mindfulness training, that comes through breathing techniques and guided meditation and yoga and stretching and spending time journaling and like really getting a chance to learn yourself, processing through your old hurts, your old traumas, getting rid of the old lenses through which you always filter things through. Like, you got to do a lot of work on yourself to really get a hold of this message, right? Yes, so it's not just this, oh yeah, do 1, 2, 3, and then you can just do it. No, because if you have a history of trauma, right, and you have all these triggers, then it's gonna be very difficult for you to manage your own triggers and your own trauma and your old patterns and be logical in the moment and make sure you respond properly. Like, it's too much. It's too much to do all at the same time. So the first step is you really got to do work on yourself. You really have to recognize, okay, am I looking at the world in the wrong way? Am I taking things personal like crazy? Am I making everything about me? Do I keep giving that away? What has happened in my past to make me think this? What has happened, what's going on, right? Like, so really understanding that, right? Right, because once you understand that, once you process through that, you've done the work, and that's like what we're here for as well. Or well, that's what we're here for as well, to help you do that. However, if it's deep, complex trauma and stuff like that, and like deeper issues, then you'd want to go into therapy, right? Like, you'd want to get a therapist to specifically work on that, because while I am a therapist and, Gordon's not a therapist, what we're doing here is coaching, and coaching is not therapy, right?
Two different things.
Be very clear. It's not therapy.
Two different things.
Yeah. So if you're dealing with a lot of those complex traumas and things of that nature that you need to actually sit down and talk through and process through, then you need to go get therapy. But once you do that, once you learn how to regulate your nervous system, now you can stay present in the moment. Now, once you can stay present in the moment, now you can be aware of what's going on. Now you can be, okay, they're becoming defensive. You know, I didn't even say anything wrong, and they're out here tripping. They're out here yelling and screaming and doing all this and everything like that. There must be something going on with them, right? There's got to be something else going on with them, because whatever I said, it wouldn't necessarily warrant this response, right? Like they're taking it all the way down this rabbit hole. So then we start having compassion on people, right? Once we stop taking it personal, we start having compassion. I'm like, okay, well, there's something they've gone through. If it's someone close to you, you might already know. Okay, yeah, they were probably abused by their parents, or they were neglected, or they have anxiety issues or things of that nature. So then once you know what it is, you know what's causing the response and the reaction. And then once you know that, it's like, okay, well, let me just, have my boundaries, right? You know, you have compassion, you forgive them, you have your boundaries, and then you just make sure you uphold those boundaries. Right. So, and that's like the process. I know it's, again, I know it's a lot. Like we said, it's a loaded question, but but the fact of the matter is, it's a loaded experience, right?
Correct.
Now,
I was just about to say, yeah.
You spent your whole life, taking things personal because you were trying to protect yourself. That's why we do it. That's why we take things personal.
It's a natural thing.
Yeah, because we look at it. And we look at situations, if you don't have all the information. Because think about it, your brain's job is to keep you alive. It's not to keep you happy. It's not to keep you pleased. Its job is to keep you alive. If a situation comes up and you don't have all the information, it's like, okay, we don't know who's involved. We don't know what's going on. We don't know what the target is. We don't know the cause, the meaning. But we got to do something. We got to put a plan of action in place. Think of it as like a board of directors, right? An emergency is coming up. We don't have all the information, but we got to protect the company. So let's just make it about us. That way, now we know what we know what it is. We can put a plan of action in place. I'll know to disengage, or I'll know to walk away, or I'll know to cuss them out, or to fight, or whatever the case may be, because it's got to be about us. So that's why we take it personal, so our brain can put a plan of action in place. But now we're here to tell you right now, you don't have to do that, because it's not about you, and it's never about you, right? It's always about what someone else has experienced, their own perspective, the lens, the things they've been through. And once you start recognizing that and start having compassion and forgiving them and setting boundaries and also operating in excellence, once you start able to do that, it'll become like life becomes a lot easier. Like you're not going to find yourself tripping out over, small things anymore, or, you're not going to see conversations going left anymore. That's another thing. If you know how to communicate well, that goes a long way too. So.
Oh, no, I mean, I agree 100%, because let me ask you this, guys. If you're watching this, if you're going to listen to this on the podcast, or you're watching this live right now, right? Think about how many times you took things personally and you blow up a relationship. Think about how you take things personal on a different way, where you didn't know how to control that situation and you blew up a job interview. Or why are you attacking me? Or why are you throwing this shade over this situation that I got? This is what we're talking about, because a lot of the times people take questions in a form that protects themselves, but it was just a natural reaction from what you've been done in the past through the window that Doc said that you've been reflecting on all this time, right? Yeah. But when you understand that, when you don't take things so reactively, I mean, even for me, and it's hard to do, guys, don't get it wrong, but we can speed that process so that you don't take 20 years or 10 years in prison or do something ridiculous. We can shorten that gap so you can have full control and sovereignty in your life. Basically, have control of your well-being. This is what we offer, provide, and coach. And if you need deeper part, like Doc said, Doc's a real therapist. Mm-hmm. But you got to understand two things. It does take work. It does take time. And you have to put in some sort of effort to be able to catch that nervous system and those, I would call, in layman's terms, those small ticks within yourself. Mm-hmm. Once you figure those things out, you can catch yourself. And guys, like Doc said, on the other side is a different you that we want to see. Yeah. The different you can get what you want regardless, right? It's just a matter, what is it you want to do and what can you do about it? Because let's face it, the way you've been doing it is not getting nowhere, right? This is where it's like, and it took me a long time to figure this out. This is why I'm passionate about this stuff, because I don't want to be wasting your time. Because like last week's show, it stopped giving your time away to the wrong things, the wrong people, the wrong situations. And this is why this is a segment. So in essence, you got to stop carrying an umbrella for everybody else's emotional storm projected on you, right? If you're in sovereign control of yourself, you don't have to be reactionary. You can have presence. You can be confident in your room. You can do things that you never thought possible because you stopped to think. And the systematic approach that Doc's created, even with his SIR method and other things that we do have, you'll be able to have that confidence to do anything in your and be in control, because control is all about what matters. Ooh, man, I'm gonna roll right there, huh, Doc? All right, talking about this one now. Mastering the gap between stimulus and response, right? Because basically people that didn't been through stuff, they just react. They want to get validation. They want the attention. But leaders do certain things. Explain that one.
Yeah, the between reaction and response, again, it goes back to command of your nervous system. To be 100% honest, guys, there's no way around it. There's no way over it. You just have to do it. You have to learn how to command your nervous system. That's the difference between someone who reacts and someone who responds. Someone who reacts is going based off of old programming, right? They're not in control. What ends up happening is, and someone who's better in neuroscience could probably correct me on this if I'm wrong. I don't think I am, though. But our amygdala triggers the alarm, right? Something goes on, it triggers the alarm, and it sets something in action, right? And maybe your logical mind, your prefrontal cortex, also recognizes something and sets it in action. But unfortunately, the amygdala sends a signal just a little bit faster than your forebrain, than your prefrontal cortex does. So, with that being said, that's why the reaction comes in. That's why you're yelling and screaming and cussing and fussing. That's where you're becoming defensive, and that's why you're doing all these things, because your body is trained for that. Your mind is trained for that, right? There's a saying in the military where you don't rise to the level of the occasion, you fall to the level of your training, right?
Oh,
and so if your nervous system is trained to react, then that's what you will always fall to. It doesn't matter how good you do in your job. It doesn't matter how much money you've made. It doesn't matter what kind of car you drive or anything along those lines. When a situation comes up that your nervous system recognizes as a threat, a conversation or anything or something said, you are going to react the same way every single time. That's why, and especially if there's trauma and stuff involved from certain parts of your life, you will start actually reacting as if you are that 5-year-old kid or that 17-year-old kid or 13-year-old kid. You will literally start acting like that person, talking like that version of yourself, because your nervous system has been trained to do that for year after year after year. So the only way to undo that is to give your nervous system a new program. And the only way to program your nervous system is through repetition. It's through doing the breathing consistently, through doing the guided meditation, through doing the yoga, through doing the progressive muscle relaxation, through doing stretching, through doing the daily journaling, through daily gratitude. You have to train your nervous system to relax, so that when something comes in, okay, now I can analyze it properly. The amygdala, yeah, we beat that signal. Now I'm looking at the situation. Now I can analyze it properly. Maybe I need to take accountability right out the gate. Maybe they're not saying something inflammatory. Maybe they are saying something that, I genuinely did wrong. My fault, my bad. I apologize. That's on me, right? Clear it up real quick. But maybe they are becoming defensive and reactive. Okay, well, I'm not sure what's going on, because I was just trying to help. And then now they're heavily reactive. I don't know what's going on. So now I can actually be in my forebrain, my prefrontal cortex, and actually process through it. Okay, I know it's not about me. I know it's something they've done. And so now maybe you could be empathetic. Maybe you could be validating. Maybe you could be reassuring, or maybe you need to end the conversation, set a boundary, and walk away. But now you can make different choices, but you cannot make those choices until you regulate your nervous system, until you've trained it that I'm in control, I'm in command. Other people's behaviors and actions will not control me. I control me. I will now be in that driver's seat, and I'll be able to identify how to deal with whatever the situation is. That's how it has to happen. Now, you might think that, oh, that's froofy stuff, breathing and meditation and yoga and journaling. That's what women do. Okay. Well, if you
Okay.
want to be a sovereign man, if you want to keep and stay the same, you can. Remember, that's always an option. That is always an option. You can stay the same. You can keep being reactive. You can keep, ruining relationships. You can keep losing jobs. You can keep blaming everybody else for your lot in life. You can keep doing that. That's fine. You have 100% right to do that, right? You could be a miserable old man later on in life and just talk about how horrible the world is and how your kids don't come to see you and how your 3 ex-wives, how horrible they were. Your 3 ex-wives, right? So they're all horrible. You were just a saint, right? You can live life like that if you want to, right? Because you don't want to sit down and do some breathing. You could do that because you don't think it's masculine or something like that. You absolutely can do that. You could be an alpha Chad and I'm just gonna work out, and you can do all that. You can do all of that, but I'm telling you right now, you will not make it one step further in those relationships. You will keep blowing stuff up. You will continue to be miserable until you command your nervous system. You must command your nervous system. 100%. Once you learn to command your nervous system, and especially if you're in a leadership position, which as a man, generally you are in a leadership position, especially in your family, leaders got to be able to regulate themselves. When 5 different problems come to a leader and they're dysregulated, guess what? The whole thing falls apart. Oh, if they're regulated and they're clear-minded, guess what they can now do? Okay, I need y'all to do that. I need you to do this.
And you start delegating the directive.
I need you to, keep an eye on that. Hey, I know that's blowing up right now, but we can't deal with that right now. Put that on the back burner. Now you can do that because now you're in control, right? It's just like Navy SEALs, right? Navy SEALs, they do box breathing. Why? Because it keeps them mindful and ready in the moment, right? So now when they're out there in the field, they're always in control. Their mind is clear. They can see targets. They can do. They just boom, boom, boom. They just go.
Just
There's no
wrap it up.
There's no nothing like so. Yeah. It's across the board. Like, I mean, you might think that, oh, that's froofy stuff, but I'm telling you, the person who remains in control is the person who's going to win. And I'm
gonna tackle that one too.
Yeah, because that's what I'm saying. Go ahead, Gordon.
If you look at all the manosphere people that's on YouTube that wanted to be that alpha male, the Chad, like Doc is, and not in control of everything, what are happening to them right now? They're all falling apart. They're all in jail because they have no control of their regulations. They get abusive. They explode, and now they want to challenge everybody for something because why? Because they have their own trauma going on. Then they start putting on other people. I mean, it's just like for us, it's like you can come from the same background as them. The ones that have in control is people like, say, I'll just say it out, like me, that has control, that can delegate, can direct it, can be a CEO of a company, a multi-billionaire, run five different businesses, and be calm and collect. But it takes, like I said, I wasn't always like this, right? Trust me, I wasn't always like this. It took a lot of time sitting on the bunk, looking in between your legs, figuring out, counting the dots on the ceiling on my bunk, figuring that something had to change. Can you imagine looking at the top of a bunk for years and years and counting how many dots are on there? How many springs are round on your mattress? How many stripes are on the cookie pan sheet or the mattress looking above? It takes a lot of time, and then something had to change, and it's all stop being reactionary. Do I react at times? I do, but not as bad. Because why? I don't want to give my power away, like Doc says, because when you respond intentionally, you keep the control that you have. And that is something that you need to have. And that's what we're offering you guys, because let's face it, you might be a professional, high-level CEO, but you have no backbone at home, right? You might have a six-figure, $250,000 a year job supporting your family, doing everything, but you get treated like shit at home. Some things need to change, but you don't want to react, or you do react, and you're not getting the respect you deserve.
Yeah.
Right? That is huge, and that's what we're offering here at Boundaries and Brotherhood, because let's face it, we want to change men's perspectives, viewpoints, and control so that they can have the confidence they deserve from birth.
Yeah.
And that's what's going to make you the sovereign man.
Yeah.
Right. Now, let me ask this third, going back to our third part, composure versus Pas is it what's the pass what's the
Passivity.
basically passivity, drawing the line, right?
Hmm.
How do you hold the line on your personal boundaries without getting dragged into the mud of someone else's drama?
Oh, well, I mean, I think you have to understand that, when it comes to having those boundaries, right? Our boundaries are not, I just did a live stream on this yesterday too. Our boundaries
That's
are
where it
not
came from.
about, yeah. Our boundaries are not about trying to control other people, right?
Right.
So you talk about being dragged in.
Look,
My
right there.
question is, why
It's
are
right
you
there.
getting dragged in? You know,
Where you,
why are you getting dragged in? You don't have to, right? They might
right.
want to drag you in and try to get you excited and try to trigger you and things like that. All you have to do is say, yeah, nah, this conversation isn't going the way that I would like, or I should say, no, let me say it in a better way. Hey, I told you, hey, if we're gonna have a conversation, this is how I best receive information, right? The calm tone, I'm talking about communication, calm tone,
Right.
not blaming accusation and criticism and things of that nature. I don't do well in conversations like that. So if we're gonna have a conversation, because I want to hear what you have to say, then we have to make sure we're being respectful. And this is what respect looks like to me. Or we have to make sure the tone is right. We have to make sure like this is what it has to look like to me so I can best receive what you're trying to say. Now, if they're not receptive to that, if they're still triggered, they're still yelling and screaming, and they're saying you're trying to control me or a bully and all these things like that, why are you getting drawn in? You already drew the line. You already said what the boundary was. Now,
Look,
all you got to
baiting
do is
you in.
enforce it.
Baiting
That's
you
it.
in.
It takes two people to fight. I hope you guys understand that. It takes two people to fight. So people cannot fight by themselves. Literally, they cannot. Right? They can try, but it's hard to keep that fire going. You really have to just really to be revving it up in your mind. But the sooner you pull out of that conversation when your boundaries aren't respected, the less the less information they have to go off of, especially if you're operating excellence, because then they have nothing to go off of. Now all they have to go off of is their reaction. So you have to be able to make sure you stay in control and you know your boundaries. And once you know your standards, your beliefs, your values, that, then you set the boundaries to protect those. And then you teach those to other people and then you enforce them. And then once you start doing that, you don't get drawn into people's foolishness anymore. You just don't.
Yeah.
Right. And then when you really start mastering it, you don't even keep certain people around anymore that bring foolishness into your life. There's like an automatic filter there. Yeah. Right. Because now when you move and operate through life as a sovereign man, you only want certain people on your team. And you're going to look and see how they operate. You're going to look and see, how do you operate in your marriage? How do you operate in your business? How do you operate with other people? How do you operate with strangers? How do you treat the waitress? You're going to be looking at all those things and taking it all simultaneously. Then as you do, you're going to be like, yeah, no, I don't really want that person on my team because they don't have the same values that I have. They're not operating with the same morality I'm operating with. They don't have the same standards I operate with. Yeah, he's a great businessman, but this man's, at the green door or at a strip club, every other night blowing money or gambling. I don't need that in my life. I don't care how much money he makes. I don't need that in my life. Our values don't align. And so, once you become a sovereign man and you start knowing how to set up boundaries, you'll always stay composed. You'll always have peace. You'll never get drawn into other people's foolishness, and then on top of that, you won't have any resentment either. Because as you walk away, it's like, man, I really hope, if you're a praying person, you're a Christian, you might be man, I hope God touches that person because they can't even see the level of dysfunction that they're experiencing right now. They're getting defensive. I didn't even say anything to attack them, but they think that it's an attack. You'll be able to start moving and operating that way, and then you will have peace. Then you move on, like, oh well, what's for dinner, or hey,
you just move
what's on the TV, or let me get back to work, or whatever the case may be. And then that person comes back around, no hard feelings will be there, none.
Yeah.
Why? Because you retained your composure, because you were able to set, teach, and enforce your boundaries.
Absolutely. I mean, let's like this lower third down here. Emotional control is not rolling over. It's enforcing high standards and firm boundaries without emotional problems or turbulence. Because like Doc said, 100%, it's so true. Because once you become on a different level, your circle will get smaller. Your character will be built. You will be holding yourself on a higher standard. And then you have expectations of people around you to have that type of values, like Doc said. If they don't have, you will kind of like put, let's say, a mini brick wall instead of a big wall. And you should
Mhm.
start gauging the gates, like you said. Boundaries is not walls; they're gates into letting people in and out of your life in a
Mhm.
situation that you might have, in a different situation that you might have. It's like how, like Doc said, you could have a big, like, I'll take it from my personal experience. Like, people wanted to do business with me back in the day when I was just on full board, but my morals, my character, my integrity was all in question. It's like, Gordon,
Yeah.
you are smart as hell. You can get things done. This, but once you hear that, but then it's coming.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah.
because, okay, you're not grounded. You're still in the gray area. You got to pick a choice. Where it's now, it's like I tell most people, you cannot go, you cannot get one foot in and one foot out on certain things. You're either going to go or you're not going to go, or get out the way.
Yeah.
Right. And because it'll affect the life, not just of you have people's lives when in your hands, when it's your responsibility. And I learned that from being in my back situations. When you
Mhm.
have power, it gets to you. But if you have control over yourself, it kind of resonates with the followers that you have. And this
Yeah.
is why I can lead so much different organizations and power with different people, right? But, you know, having that being said, when you do have control, if you don't have that type of control, you want that type of control for yourself, your business, your family, your organization, or just for your friends around you. Guys, take the assessment at boundariesandbrotherhood.com. It'll run you through all these things and it'll put you in a bucket and score how you're going to be and be able to see where you land.
Yeah.
You're going to land in three different categories. And for the three different categories, the end result is you want to have full control of your peace, your control, your confidence, everything in your life. But we have to start somewhere. Guys, take it at assessment.boundariesandbrotherhood.com and see where you land. Because we do offer the free community. You get motivational stuff from me daily. You get emails, you get free community, and you get free PDFs and a workshop. The bonuses exceed the product. But we want to give that to you because we just want you to be in a place where you want to just take the first step into working with us for
Yeah.
yourself, your family, and people around you. Doc, okay. Usually we say drop in the comments, but okay. At the end of the day, right? You will never control the outside world, the traffic, the person honking at you, cutting you off, for example. And you cannot force people to respect your time and be able to act with integrity or see your own value. But the moment you stop demanding that the world behave and start demanding that you control your own response, you basically become untouchable, right?
Yep.
Peace isn't the absence of chaos, it's the mastery of your own standard.
That's
Could
correct.
you put that in layman's terms for somebody that might be have a distorted view of this and how we can
Mhm.
help them?
Okay. Yeah. I love simplifying things. And to be honest, the simplest way to look at this is, you don't have to worry about what everything else that's happening in the world. All you got to do is worry about how you manage your perceptions and how you react and how you respond. That's all you can control. That's all you need to control.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to worry about the person that just cussed you out on the freeway. You don't got to worry about the fact that someone just yelled at you. You don't have to worry about the fact that someone ignored you. You don't have to worry about the fact that the cashier wasn't as nice or someone didn't. You don't have to worry about any of those things. You don't have to worry about any. You don't have to worry about anybody. You don't have to learn 10 different people. If you're in dating, you don't have to worry. Well, I got to learn all these different. You don't. No.
No.
As long as you master yourself, everything else, everything else comes easy.
Yep.
Everything else becomes easy. Because once you master yourself and I know what peace is for me. Oh, that's not peace. I'm not gonna have it in my life. It's that simple. Oh, that no, I'm not gonna have that in my life. Oh, that kind of behavior? No, I'm good on
Mm.
that. I'm
Yeah.
good. Yeah, yeah. I don't have to worry about that. Like literally, like I often tell people, it's extremely rare. Extremely rare. The last time I had a bad day was probably, and when I say a bad day, I mean like the whole day was bad. And that was actually really more so on me. But that was what, 2 years? 2 years ago? I think 2 years ago since I had a
Okay.
bad day. Before that day, I couldn't tell you when the last time I had a bad day. Like a bad day. I'm not saying little bad moments didn't happen,
That's
when
different.
things didn't come up. But I'm talking about a whole day. And now, when I mastered this, forget it, man.
Boom.
Like Gordon said, untouchable. Untouchable.
Because you control everything.
You exactly. You don't allow yourself to get to that point. You don't allow yourself to get to that point. That's the whole thing of control.
Yep.
Right? Like you talk about, on peace. Well, I know what peace is. And once you know what your baseline is, once you've done the work, you regulate your nervous system, you know what that peaceful baseline is. And now, because you're always aware and you're always in control, now you know when, we're starting to move out of peace. This conversation, this situation. So I'm just gonna pull myself back. Like it's that simple. I don't want to engage in that. It's not peaceful. I'm move away. Yeah. Right. So it's not that, I need, this is just my own pet peeve when people say this. I need my woman to bring me peace. No, I don't need anyone to bring me peace. I carry it wherever I go. If my woman's tripping, you could trip over there. I'm gonna go over here because I ain't trying to get into all that. I'm not going down that rabbit hole. I'm not, allowing this to ruin my whole day. I'm not going to be sitting there stewing. Oh, I can't believe she said that. And how dare she say that? Or I can't believe my boss said this. And now you're off of work and you're making all this noise and grunting and complaining and doing all this stuff, losing all this peace, and they're sleeping. That person you're so mad about on the highway, they're sleeping. They're not thinking anything about you. You out here, and they're not thinking two things about you.
They don't
you out
care.
Here concerned about the bully that bullied you, when you were in elementary school. That man done moved on with his life.
They don't care.
Even think about it. Probably changed his whole life around and everything. But you're still, and so we get the opportunity to choose peace every day. You learn how to regulate yourself. You don't take things personal. You have your boundaries, bro. Like it's real simple. It's real simple. And then you stop looking for external validation too.
That's even worse.
It's worse. Well, I'm telling you, man. Like I'm telling you, when you guys get there, I'm telling you, man, you'll be like, dang, you can actually live like this. Like I don't got to put on for nobody. I don't got to put on the dog and pony show and all stuff like that and try to puff my chest up and everything. I can be myself. I can wear anime shirts wherever I go. Like I don't got to impress. I can be in a room with people with suits and ties and I'm rocking an anime shirt and I'm like, yeah, I'm kind of that guy. Like I can live a life like that. Yes, you can live a life like that.
Of course.
You can live a life like that. But it starts with you regulating your nervous system and then learn not to take things personal. Right? Because when you start doing that, I'm telling you, I mean, it's like your eyes open. It's like, if you ever seen The Matrix, it's like when you get woken up, you took the red pill and you get woken up. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. Right? So with that being said, yeah, guys, I'm telling you, stop taking things personal. It's not about you. I promise you, it's not about you at all. It's not, and once you regulate yourself and recognize that, telling you, man, changes things.
And the way it comes down to, because like you said, we went over the mirror principle today. Why your reaction? It's like Doc just went over it. The reactions that you get is never about you. And master that triggers that you have in your nervous system and the response that you're going to give. If you have control of everything that you have so far, you don't have to respond to nothing else. You don't care about the coworker. You don't care You don't have to worry about the person in your guest in your hotel that's not tipping you. You don't have to worry about the guy cutting in line or that because you have full control and you have to hold firm your boundaries without losing your composure. What Doc already said, right? And you just got to be ready to see where your life would lead if you didn't give your power away. Think of it this way: every time you give your power away, there's less of a piece of you that you get to hold to yourself. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So if you give away piece of, imagine yourself as a big Lego. Every time some jackass or something happens bad that you don't have control, you're giving a big piece of block of yourself. Mm-hmm. At the end of the day, what do you think you're left with if you don't have full control and you can't keep your composure? Yep. You won't be a full man, right?
It's true.
Imagine even from the little Lego blocks. I hate to say it because I'm using the analogy of the Lego blocks because of my kids, but you know what I mean? And I'm at the same time, you are also teaching other people what presses your buttons. And that's
Mhm.
another sign of you not giving control of everything. But if you're ready to stop second guessing yourself and you want to be able to build unbreakable standards, boundaries, and you need a push in the right direction and encouragement and a brotherhood that knows you inside and out from two sides of the spectrum, and to see where your blind spots are when it comes to this type of stuff, take the first step right now, guys. Head on over to assessment.boundariesandbrotherhood.com. Take the assessment. If you want to look what Doc is all about, he does have his private practice, but we are on. Everything is working fine at boundariesandbrotherhood.com. Come see the team. But the assessment takes 5 minutes. It'll put you in a bucket and give you a score. Then you'll get a different type of messages from me to know that this is what you can be doing in small sense, where you can come and get the real live coaching from both of us.
Mhm.
Because now that we have the organization, we have the spot, everything is working, PDFs are there for download. Guys, the only thing that's stopping you right now is basically you. You just need that direction. And that's what we're here for. Guys, hold strong, guys, because if you're leaking power on a daily basis, if you're a bag of water and you have hose giving your power, imagine how much water is going to be leaked out before you put something and change.
Yep.
Just imagine that for 1 second, that all the water is coming out. It's going to be up to you, and we'll see you on the next time.
Yeah.
Doc, you got any final words?
Don't take things personal. Do the work. Regulate yourself. Recognize that it's a faulty way to keep yourself safe, and you don't keep yourself safe. All you do when you take things personal and you hold on to resentment is you destroy yourself. That's the only thing you do. All that resentment and hate you're holding on to, you're only destroying yourself. People say, hold on to resentment. Or they say it's like hold on to resentment. It's like drinking poison and hoping that the person who harmed you or that in your mind you think harmed you, that they're going to suffer. They're going to die. They promise you they won't. Like I said before, they're sleeping just fine. They're moving through life just fine. You're the only one sitting there pining away over something because of how you constructed the story in your own mind. And just know that when you take things personal, that's not a real story. That didn't happen in real life. Can you believe what they did to me? And they don't respect me and who they think I am and da 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 da. And I'm telling you right now, if you keep doing that, it could lead you down a really dark path. I'll share this this last thing along with
Yes.
this. Why I say this, right? So there's a guy on YouTube. He has a channel, Ray Williams Johnson, right? And he does like true crime stories and like animates it and talks, right? And I cannot tell you how many of those stories where someone took some type of offense, they took it personal, right? And they started creating scenarios in their mind, right?
Yep.
And they started creating enemies in their mind. And I'm not talking about psychosis. Let me be very clear. Not talking about psychosis. These are just regular people. You might say, no, that's not regular people. These were regular people, right? They weren't hearing voices or nothing like that. A situation happened. They took it personal. They created a story about how they were offended and how they were hurt and how they're victims and all these things like that. And then all of a sudden, they go and start taking people's lives over a story they made up in their own mind that wasn't even real. So
Unbelievable.
this message right here, it's not just some feel-good message, oh, let's make you some money type of stuff. Like this could literally save your life and save other people's lives. Like
Absolutely.
literally. This could save your marriage. This could save your children. This could save your job. This could save your business. This could save your relationship. It could save so many things if you take this message serious.
Yep.
Do not take things personal. Know that it was a faulty way to protect yourself. Whatever story you created, it's incomplete. Get more information and recognize that it's not about you. It's about whatever this other person had going on, right? And you have to make the decision on how you want to move. And the only way as a sovereign man you should move is to be operating in excellence, setting boundaries, and controlling yourself, regulating your own emotions, regulating your own nervous system. That's it. We control ourselves, right? So again, don't take things personal. Don't make up false stories. Just own your own behaviors, do what you can do, control yourself, and carry peace with you wherever you go.
Beautiful. All right, guys. Remember, take the assessment at Boundaries and Brotherhood, assessment.boundariesandbrotherhood.com. If you're listening to this on the replay on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or you're going to be watching this on some of the clips, give us a thumbs up, leave us a review, subscribe, hit the notification bell on YouTube. And guys, it's Gordon Watt from Boundaries and Brotherhood. Aloha. See you next week.
Guys, take care.